We're here to talk about smart infrastructure and cities of the future. My first question for you, to get the crowd excited about the idea of futuristic cities and cities of the future, I wanted to ask you, give me your vision for what my day would look like if I'm living in your vision for the perfect city of the future. What would my commute look like? What would my experience at work look like? How would my shopping experience be on my way home from work? And what sorts of leisure activities would I be involved in, or what sort of, what opportunities would I have to mingle with other citizens in this city?
Yeah, thanks, John. That is of course, very personal question and a very important one. Might be a little different for each and everyone, but to make it a little bit generic also, of course, first, I hope that also there will be some personality and some human aspects also in future cities, because we want to have technology not for the sake of technology, we want to have technology for a purpose, for the people, to allow also a human aspect to it. But how would a day look like? Most likely, when you wake up already, your breakfast is already kind of prepared, because the kitchen knows what you need and what your regular habits is. So this is where artificial intelligence already kicks in. Then it goes further that which kind of transportation you choose that day might depend on the weather, the traffic, where you want to go, and your calendar already makes you then a proposal when has booked a ticket, and you go to your, of course, 100% carbon neutral or carbon free transportation, no traffic jam, because it's well organized in terms of when you go to work, who is going where, and that you have chosen, of course, your preferences, but you're guided through the day. And then you come to your office, your meeting room is already reserved by your calendar, and the like. So which people are in the office might be set up. Perhaps you see them already closer to your next door, or alike. And then continues, of course, in leisure and public, which is very individual then, of course. But it's all guided through, net zero, carbon-free, hassle-free, safe and secure, because we're not only talking about energy efficiency and carbon neutrality, also well-being of employees, of citizens in these growing megacities is very important.
And as a sort of human living in this kind of new environment, is there something that I would need to right now prepare myself for these cities, these spaces of the future? Are there any inconveniences that I would need to get used to, or any new elements of living in that kind of environment that people today need to wrap their heads around right now?
The city of the future should also give people choices to make their decisions, to keep the individualism. We don't want everything to be the same for everybody, but that you make your choices on what your preferences are throughout the day. But therefore, you have to decide which data you give to someone to help you making the right choices. It's always in connected data environment around making better decisions based on insights. And you decide which data you give to help you to make the right decision, which fits your purpose.
You've said that Dubai's Expo 2020 campus is arguably the best example to date of a purpose-built, connected urban environment, and that Siemens has made it a blueprint for future smart cities. Outside of the Expo, can you give us examples of cities right now that are doing a good job of incorporating smart thinking into their growth and new development?
Yeah, I think I was personally involved in this journey from the very, very beginning when we started 4 or 5 years ago, also setting up with the teams and becoming a premier partner for Expo as a technology and digitalization partner. to create this. Of course, we are proud of what has been accomplished and has been achieved. Now people might say, but Expo is not a city.
Right.
But Expo will become a city when it turns into District 2020, and that starts by the end of the month. And District 2020 will, we will have people live and working here, being educated, going for leisure and entertainment. And this will be then the final proof point of the technology being used now during the exhibition to carry them forward. And we as a technology partner, of course, we do this because we believe that future cities need this technology so that we can scale it. I think,
Right.
and we have both. We have some proof points from the history, of course, with different technology. Like in Vienna, we had built a district already 10 years ago, fully self-contained with 10,000 people, and we have the data from the consumption, from the usage, from the habits, what's being used to optimize this. So it works. Now we fast forward with different technologies from Expo. We bring it to other cities, and we have one already in negotiation where I cannot talk about today, but soon outside of this country, and where there will be 30,000 people also living and working in such an environment. So District 2020, this city, then others to come, and we see, and you were asking about cities who are at the forefront. I think London started very early, and being a sustainable city and having this at the center of all what they did. And Singapore, I do see now. And of course here in Dubai, and we have also in the region we see with NEOM and the Red Sea District also other kind of greenfields, big smart cities being developed, and we're happy to participate in these ones.
You talked about data that's being collected in these places, and Siemens is collecting data here and is using some of that data for key insights.
Yeah.
Can you give us some examples of what you've learned from the data that you've collected so far here?
Yeah. Before I answer that question, there's one important thing. It's not Siemens collecting the data. It's we help our customers to collect data.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah, because the data is with the customers, and everyone decides also what he or she wants to share with us, and we can also use unpersonalized data to make the right decisions, have our algorithms running on them. We did that here, and this goes multidiscipline. This is also why our IoT network that we have built up here on Expo is a Siemens system, of course, but it's also open for partners and third-party products, because unfortunately the world is not only built with Siemens products. That could be, but it's not yet. So we are connecting to other third people, having open platforms, and that goes from optimizing water irrigation and minimizing leakage. We could have this would immediately trigger alarms and being seen, and then also algorithms starting if something happens. The same on safety and security and well-being, also on visitor movement, visitor guidance, with the Expo app, all connected using the same data. It's important. We have one set of data being used for the different applications, be it technology, be it visitor management, or also security.
Is there a key insight that you've made looking at the data?
I think we will also have this aftermath discussion with the customer, with the Expo themselves, to see what we have achieved and where we are. But definitely, I would say the energy consumption, as well as also the water, especially water consumption, was I think eye-opening for such a huge event with so many visitors compared to others.
You wrote recently that investments to make cities smarter are predicted to more than double to 250 billion by 2030. Much of it will be private sector, as well as by governments. If you were a government employee and you're trying to get your superiors excited, interested in spending the money necessary to create a smart city, what would your main argument be? What would your main point be to them? How would you pitch this idea in a very succinct kind of way?
For cities, if you look into the population growth and it's predicted from the United Nations that today is 50% people living in cities will be 70. So 70% of the global population. So urbanization is happening. So therefore, I would say in our governance, we should say, we need this. The technologies are there. We need to enable also and invest ourselves and enable also clients in our city environment to do this early on, because also to fight the impact on climate change, we have only 10 years time maximum to avoid irreversible damage. So therefore, that is an argument which counts, I think, for all governments and all the commitments for 2050 carbon neutrality, and that is decided in the cities of the future.
When you're talking about spending that kind of money, is there a sort of easy way to get people on board? Is there a business or an economic case for saying that this will help growth flourish in our city? This will help bring people, jobs, economic growth, or is it mostly a sustainability argument?
No, I think it's a combination. It's a combination of both. Sustainability is more than just a commitment or something which is nice to have, as it has been perhaps years ago.
Yeah.
It's for business. It's important because when we talk about smart infrastructure, we say smart infrastructure is sustainable infrastructure, and sustainable infrastructure needs to be smart infrastructure. The same holds true also for sustainable cities and also sustainable societies. And therefore, there's no way around it, and the investments need to be made also now. Technologies are there. And therefore, it is. I think there's no way around it at the moment to start now.
Yeah. Speaking of sustainability, in 2015, Siemens was among the first large industrial companies to declare a goal of net zero CO2 emissions by 2030. A large part of that plan involves changes to how the supply chain is managed. And I know you have some expertise in supply chain management. It's a very big topic these days, post-pandemic. I'm wondering, can you give us a sense of how those goals will be achieved?
Yeah, I think what we did early on is the same question that you just asked for cities or for other businesses or for governments. We asked ourselves, what do we need to do to make our contribution to a net zero community, and also to leverage our own technologies? Where do we have to invest? Yeah, and then we also will benefit. Governments will benefit in the same way as we do, because benefit from the early investments. Because the faster we have renewable energy, the less we will suffer from increasing fossil fuel prices or CO2 certificate costs, which will definitely rise in 2030 when everybody is looking for those, because they still have the gap to fill. Right? So the earlier we invest, the better. Therefore, and we wanted to be in the forefront, also deploying our own technologies and solutions. So what we did is our own premises to make them more energy efficient, go to electric fleets step by step with a huge amount of cars that we have. And then you were asking about supply chain. So first, it's about our own supply chain. The own operations will be carbon zero in 2030. But the supply chain from where we source all of our suppliers, we have a target of at least reducing more than 20% by 2030, and then even more. But this will make a difference. And here, our suppliers are also our customers. We can support them again with our infrastructure products, but also as one of the largest software companies in the world, Siemens in the industrial space. Siemens also has software to what we call the green digital twin. So not only the digital twin of infrastructure and industry, but also a digital twin of supply chain, so where developers can see, if I source this product or this component from there, this is what the carbon footprint will be, and we can make decisions on it. Very interesting also for other industrial companies where we talk to.
So I want to ask you, a personal question about sort of what excites you most about cities of the future, when you think about living in a new kind of environment, what gets you really excited about that?
It's twofold. Personally, I'm very excited that I have the chance, or also the blessing to be part of this change and to have a chance of contributing. This makes me really very proud, but also exciting and very busy. Also. But then also the other thing is, what excites me is that we have a chance to take away the hassle and the burden and the stress and the strain that we have in today's cities. If you go in many cities around the world, it's overcrowded, it's polluted, it's noisy. You know, if there is a chance, if we go through all electric and organized and less traffic jam free or traffic jam free world in extreme, that could be a lot more livable, less stressful, and that's what I'm looking for. Perhaps that's my age. But
we can use those ideas in New York.
Yeah. New York has some other benefits also as a city as such, which I also like.
Many.
So that's a good example. We need to keep the culture, the vibrance of the cities and combine them with new technologies. Otherwise, they'll all look the same and not natural anymore. So, and this is why this is a huge consulting work, a partnership amongst many stakeholders. Not one company can do it alone, and we are proud to be part of this process.
And that's unfortunately all the time we have. It's been great talking to you, Matthias. Thank you very much. And thank you all for joining in.
Thank you, John, and have a good day.